Good afternoon, I'm Vashan Brown with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. I remind as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot Media. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid this morning met with staff members at the Edith Dalton James High School a day after a student was stabbed to death at the institution. 15-year-old Clive Mattison was stabbed during an altercation with another male student at the school. The stabbing incident took place about 10:45 Thursday morning. During his meeting this morning with staff, the Education Minister said the school will be provided with additional resources as it seeks to tackle security issues.
We have a nice setup at the front that we plan to actually put one of the first walk-through scan that will automatically detect metals. The CCTV system and the artificial intelligence radio type system also we probably could also put where it actually will detect has the capacity to know right on the campus anybody who have weapons and so on.
The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, has another case on its hands after police in Clarendon fatally shot a mentally ill man in the capital, Maypen, on Thursday. Residents called the police after a young schoolgirl had to use her umbrella to stop the man from chopping her. Police say they told the man to drop the weapon several times and he refused. They shot him after he reportedly attacked them. The man, a former taxi operator known to many residents, died while undergoing surgery at hospital. The incident has again raised questions about the safety of residents with a number of mentally ill persons on the streets of Maypen.
Most of them will be walking with something, yes. Something sharp, something pointed, anything, but they can use anything as a weapon.
Some of the time I'm afraid of them because some of them have some piece of tick and some sitting and they feel like they will lick you. God knows. I'm afraid of them some of the time, but some of them are alright, they will walk past you and look for you, but to be honest, we're afraid of them.
Just like what happened today, I'm afraid that probably some of them might bounce them and they might take it as an offense and they try to do something to defend themselves. You don't know what's going on in their mind.
You need to take them off the children. Them are the place, but some of the time you see them from plaza, you see them in your business place, and you don't want people afraid to come in the place because there's a madman there in front, so you feel so they need to take them off outside the road.
The Clarendon Municipal Corporation operates a drop-in center which provides meals, baths and medical care for homeless persons at the infirmary in Maypen. Tension is mounting between gasoline retailers and the Minister of Finance, Audley Shaw, who accused them of driving up inflation. The Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, JGRA, is now calling for Mr. Shaw to withdraw the statement. It was reported on Thursday that gasoline retailers were on a collision course with the finance minister over the statement, which was made at the inaugural natural gas conference at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston. Mr. Shaw said he would write to the energy and commerce ministers for them to investigate unfair pricing policies of the petroleum trade. The JGRA fired back, saying it was at a loss as to how Mr. Shaw could blame the retailers. It said it was the government that applied additional taxes on gasoline, which is reflected in pump prices. JGRA President Philip Kong has now taken the matter further.
We've written a letter to Mr. Shaw, inviting him to meet with us so that we can get a better understanding of his statement. At the end of the day, we wish the statement to be withdrawn, as we think it affects us in a very negative manner. It's quite clear to us that he has asked the relevant people, which is the other ministries and PCJ, to substantiate or explain the cost or the cost of petrol to the nation. And I think that is well pointed. That's where we should seek to get some answers from.
He says while marketing companies have increased their margins from 11 to 15%, dealer margins have fallen to 8% in just 2 years. A 22-year-old man is dead following what police say was a hit-and-run accident on the Hopewell Main Road in Hanover early this morning. He's been identified as Michael Mito of Pond Peace in the parish. The Sandy Bay police say about 4:55 a.m. they were alerted by a resident that a man was seen lying on the road and he appeared to be dead. Investigators are asking anyone who may have witnessed the hit-and-run accident to contact the Lucy Police at 956-2333. That's 956-2333. A man escaped serious injury after his car crashed into a utility pole in Manchester early this morning. The crash happened around 4 o'clock along Manchester Road near the Northern Caribbean University. The driver was able to get out of the car by himself and was taken to the Mandeville Regional Hospital. The slippery road surface caused by the rain is believed to have contributed to the mishap. The Technology Ministry will be launching programs to sensitize the public on cybersecurity. This initiative comes as the world recognizes Cyber Month. Speaking at a JIS think tank recently, Director of Network and Security for Cable and Wireless, Delroy McLean, said the statistics show that the island receives 10 times more cyber threats than other countries in the Caribbean.
Many customers, many persons don't think security. And really, as the internet becomes more and more prevalent, they don't have to think security. They want to get connected. And security is an inconvenience.
Senior advisor in the Ministry of Technology, Trevor Forrest, said the focus is to get people to understand the security threats that come with using technology.
As you find that we encourage people to bank online, use ATMs, send more emails, we also want to make sure that they're aware of how they need to secure the work, the transactions, the data that they send, whether it be for business or for personal use.
Head of the Cyber Response Team, Monifa Hewell, said one of the issues they encounter on a daily basis is that people don't think before they click on websites or before they post on social media. She added that this is one of the issues she wants to address in the program. One business owner in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, is calling for the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation to replace her billboard after the entity removed it on Tuesday, claiming she had outstanding fees. Managing Director of Coors Fesco, Monica Core, is insisting she paid up all the fees owed to the corporation. The billboard was removed as part of a 6-day operation ordered by the corporation to take all illegal commercial signs off the streets. The signs were identified as illegal because they were not paid for.
I spoke to the person who was responsible for doing so, and he told me that they do not have it in the office to say that I have paid. But here I have my receipt to say that it was paid from April the 25th, 2017.
And she thinks the company is not having the billboard restored in a reasonable time. It has been 3 days since it was removed.
A reasonable time is the very day after. They have done it yesterday evening. I've contacted them this morning. So if they know that they're wrong, they should have come immediately and to restore those signs.
While Mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott, says the document used to make the payment did not correspond with the company name Coors Fesco, so it was listed as a client with outstanding fees, an error he thinks could have been avoided. He says companies should ensure that when payments are being made, the company name is clearly stated, but he says the sign that was removed on Tuesday will be replaced and an apology made to the persons affected. And it's time now for Fact or Fiction feature. Fact or Fiction. In 1914, Gabriel Johnson founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, in Jamaica. And we'll tell you the answer at the end of the sports segment of the Midday News. But first, we go to news overseas. After battering portions of Central America, Tropical Storm Nate is expected to reach the U.S. Gulf Coast this weekend as a hurricane. The storm has already killed at least 22 people in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Honduras, where it caused widespread flash flooding and mudslides. We go to the CNN for more.
Yeah, just literally within the past 90 seconds, the National Hurricane Center hoisting hurricane watches from the central Louisiana coast eastward all the way to the Mississippi and Alabama border. This includes New Orleans as well as Lake Pontchartrain. There are tropical storm watches extending further east than that, just outside of the Panama City region. That information is new to us. We don't even have the graphics prepared to show you, so I'm verbally telling you what is the latest here from the National Hurricane Center. Tropical storm Nate, not looking that convincing on satellite as we speak, but looks can be deceiving. The storm has now just exited the coast of Honduras. It is moving over warm, open waters across the Caribbean. And I want to show you this graphic because this is one of the latest ensembles, the European model, and it's showing a high probability of tropical storm force winds at the minimum for the Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama coasts, especially as we head into the Saturday night overnight period and into the day on Sunday.
In the United States, demands by top White House policy advisor Stephen Miller during sensitive negotiations about protecting young undocumented migrants from deportation could derail congressional efforts to find a legislative solution. President Donald Trump had announced the end of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, known as DACA, last month, but he delayed termination of the program by 6 months. Minority Leader in the U.S. House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, has disagreed with the move by the president.
The president should never have done what he did in terms of giving the 6 month this or that. He's revoking it, giving it 6 months for us to pass a bill. He should never have done that. It was an inhumane thing to do. But that's when we went to see him and said, hey, if we're going to have a values-based relationship, this is our threshold. This is our threshold, protecting these dreamers in our country, because they have come forward, they have revealed their parents, they've revealed their information. And the president, I think, not because, as I say, Chuck Schumer had good table manners, it's because the American people believe in you.
And the news now in sports. The completion of work on the National Stadium basketball courts has been further delayed with the discovery of a sewage problem at the facility and recent poor weather conditions. The work should have been completed this month, but authorities say they are now aiming for a December finish, especially with the impending return of the National Basketball League in January.
Renovation and refurbishing work on the National Stadium basketball courts was scheduled for an October finish. But the discovery of a sewage problem at the facility, which has been traced to a manhole located directly beneath the courts, has resulted in a second delay since work started in March. Denzel Wilkes, general manager of the Sports Development Foundation, which is funding the repair work, says the National Water Commission has been addressing the issue in earnest, but are also being hampered by recent rains.
The only way to solve the problem would actually involve digging down to get to that manhole, and by then we had already completed the base works, as you can see, and so they have done that. In fact, they are actually at work even as we speak in addressing that problem.
But what about the complete removal of the manhole?
To remove it and replace it would be a huge task, which I am not so sure can be undertaken now.
Meanwhile, describing the delay as a tremendous setback, interim Jamaica Basketball Association President Calvin Martin says it's more than just a court to the national basketball program.
And it will come back to be the place where the family of basketball persons will hang out. Also, it is where most of the major competitions in this region are kept. Church leagues and the community league, the SDC, when they have their community league, the finals are kept here. The Easter School League. So it is the area, and it is the area of that is culturally known for basketball, and we are eagerly awaiting its reopening.
And with the sewage delay in mind, Martin says they are wasting no time in finding alternative venues for the NBL, which returns in January.
We are in negotiations with the management of IPL, and with a view to getting alternate basketball match venue for the upcoming NBL, and we are in very advanced negotiations, and in a very short time we'll be able to tell Jamaica where it is that the NBL in the Southern Conference is going to be played. But we are very optimistic that we will have a good solution to that.
But Wills says work could not be completed by December.
So we're running pretty close to early December. That's what we anticipate now. The rest of the work that's left, of course, once we cover back this manhole, then we will have completed the base works, which were in fact completed. We are now in the process of acquiring the seating, and that had to be built to order, and it's almost complete, and before the end of October, it should be here in Jamaica. The synthetic surface, we are in the process of selection. We are getting samples. In fact, just this week into next week, we should be getting samples from the potential providers.
The renovation work is being done at a cost of 35 million Jamaican dollars.
And finally this afternoon, the answer to our Fact or Fiction feature. We asked Fact or Fiction. In 1914, Gabriel Johnson founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, in Jamaica. Well, it's fiction. The Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League is a black nationalist fraternal organization founded in 1914 by Marcus Mosiah Garvey. The UNIA represents the largest mass movement in African American history. Garvey and the UNIA established 700 branches in 38 states by the early 1920s. And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, have a good afternoon and have a great weekend.